So one of the drawbacks to this bike is that the throttle only goes 20 miles per hour. There's no way to increase it. The only way you can hit the top speed is by pedaling. So with pedal assist, you can hit 28 miles per hour. But with throttle, you cannot. So here we are, fully pegged the throttle, completely engaged, and here you can see we only get 20 miles per hour. I think that's one thing that Engwe should fix for us American folks. It would be nice to be able to hit the top speed with throttle. It is legal here in my state at least, and most places. So that's the only real drawback to this bike, is the throttle. Everything else is pretty good. And that's not a huge drawback because you can pedal. So if you go like this, now you're not going to get a lot of exercise, but as long as you move your feet here, and as soon as it hits 28 miles per hour, the motor does kick out. So it does have a limit on your top speed. So here we are on the flat part of the road, and we're able to easily hit our top speed just by pedaling. Now this is a 52 volt e-bike, so pretty good power here. A little bit better than what you would get with the 48 volt e-bike. So as long as you're content with pedaling the entire time, then you'll be able to hit this top speed, no problem. Now if you just use throttle, you're only going to hit 20 miles per hour. But if you want to get a lot of range with these two 15 amp hour batteries, using just throttle, you're going to get tons of mileage, no problem. A lot more than you would if you were pedaling the entire time, which is kind of odd. So if there's any way Engwe could increase the throttle power, allowing us to hit 28 miles per hour by pedaling, that would be awesome. Because I would like to just sit here and use the throttle and that's it, and get around, and completely legal in my state. Now everything else about this bike is very nice. The color scheme is really cool. We got hydraulic brakes, a nice simple color display with all the controls built in. So it's a really sleek e-bike. The hydraulic brakes work really well. And I got a headwind here, so I'm not being able to pick up those high speeds right now. And then it's full suspension, so it does have suspension on the rear and on the front, and it seems to work decent. Now the front forks do not have any adjustment on it whatsoever, but the big standout feature to this bike has got to be the headlights. They are really nice looking, bright, definitely great at night, very cool looking during the day. Got a halo around the headlight as well as the projector beam on both, so it's like a dual projector headlight. And it does have a SIS index Shimano shifter. If you're going up a steep hill, you might use that, but for the most part this is not a super powerful hill climbing e-bike. It's not really made for that. This is more made for commuting, getting around, and it's a very cool looking bike. Now pedaling is not the best experience, but if you're just turning the crank to get the speed, because it is a cadence sensor, you don't have to put a lot of power into it. So me being a taller rider, it's not too uncomfortable. Now I'm not getting a full leg extension by any means, but the overall feel when you're pedaling and riding, it's not too bad. Bike is super stable, suspension works good, very comfortable ride. Now the seat's a little bit stiff. Probably need to upgrade that one day, add some more cushion to the seat. It's not super thick with cushion. So really good stopping power there. Now we're going to do the hill climb with absolutely no pedaling. We're just going to use throttle, see how well the motor does going up these hills. I'll do one of these hills with just throttle, and then I'll do the second hill by pedaling, see if we get any more power. Now we're not going to be hitting over 20 miles per hour on either of these hills anyways, but as you can see, We're approaching the bus stop sign where the 6% grade is, and we're making it at a slow 14 miles per hour. Not super fast. So let's go ahead and pedal. And our next hill is an 8%. There's a car behind me. They're just gonna have to wait. Car past me. 102. So here we are getting resistance, so we are kind of helping the motor a little bit, but still only making it up at 10 miles an hour. So we're gonna whip a Yui here, and that's about as good as we're gonna get with the hill climbing capabilities of this bike. So not terrible. You could definitely help the motor by pedaling. That's going to work better for you. Now going over these bumps on this road, suspension's working great. The 20 by 4-inch fat tires are working great. But overall, I like everything about it except for the throttle speed. Like I said, if Engwe could figure out a way to allow the American riders to have a higher throttle speed, that would be ideal. We are allowed to have speeds up to 28 miles per hour with throttle on a class 3 e-bike in most states. And this thing definitely looks super nice. Very sexy looking bike. If you can get away with the throttle versus pedaling experience, I think it'll do great. I know some countries, they only allow 20 miles per hour as the top speed. Some only allow 20 miles per hour with the throttle. So I understand why they did what they did, because of the other types of laws. And Engwe sells bikes in many different areas, many different countries. But in the United States, they should probably make a different version of their bikes, or give the option to the user to unlock them if they want to. Like most e-bike companies that sell bikes here in the United States, they give us the option to unlock the bike so we can get a top speed with throttle only. But I've tested many e-bikes with Engwe. I've tested the original M20, which is a really nice bike as well. I had that one in a green color. This one's the blue. I don't know which one I like better as far as the color scheme goes. They're both very pretty bikes. But I think I'm going to have to put my heart on this one because blue. That's my favorite color. And then with the tan wall tires and tan seat, definitely looks really nice and stylish. And some people buy bikes for that reason. Now this does have a horn. It's pretty loud. And it does have a headlight button. The screen is very easy to read in bright sunlight, so that's a very nice feature. When you can't see the display, you have to use your phone at that point to be able to see your speed. I'm just using my phone so you guys can see the GPS reading, but the speedometer is pretty accurate, so you don't necessarily need your phone with this bike. And I like how minimal the screen is because it doesn't take up a lot of room. Gives you a lot more areas to add stuff to your bike. Gives you a lot more places to add your accessories. But overall, this has been a pretty nice bike to ride. I enjoy the comfort. I like the handlebars, the headlight of course, full suspension, all of it. So now we're going to go through the bike. I'll show you everything about it. Alright, here's the Engwe M20 2.0. This is a very nice 20 by 4-inch e-bike with tan wall tires. So the biggest standout feature to this bike is the dual batteries, which will give you about 30 amp hours of total capacity with both of these batteries. So that's really nice. Lots of range, lots of capabilities to go wherever you want, and pretty nice to have that luxury to not have to worry about your battery depleting all the way. Now it does have a 750 watt motor on the back, which peaks at 1200 watts. This is a 52 volt e-bike. I really like the dark blue with the tan walled tires. It looks really, really nice all together. And then the orange accents on the batteries, it looks pretty nice. The only problem with mine is whenever they were shipping, they forgot to lock the batteries in, and I got a couple scratches on the decals, but that's very minor. I did mention it to Engwe, so hopefully they address that when they package these up. Now this does have front suspension and rear suspension. The rear suspension is an air shock, and it is pretty decent. It's not the best one out there, of course, but for this price you get full suspension and 30 amp hours of battery on a 52 volt e-bike. $1,200, I think it's $11.99 right now. Unbelievable deal for what you get with this bike. I do know that they are going to be having some holiday sales around Christmas time. So when I release my video, this bike might even be cheaper than what it is now. Now the dual projector headlights are really nice. If we hit this headlight button here, you'll see it's got two projector beams and then a halo. So let's turn the headlights off. So there you go. And I love these. They're the same ones that they had on the original M20 that I reviewed. Very fancy, very nice, very cool looking. Definitely stands out when you're riding, and they are super bright. I really like that it has mag wheels. Don't have to worry about spokes, and it does have fenders, so you don't have to worry about anything coming up and hitting you, getting dust on you or rain or anything like that. These fenders are really nice. It does have a derailleur guard with a tourney derailleur on the back, as well as a double-walled chain guard, so you don't have to worry about your chain falling off or your pants getting caught in there in the winter time. The front suspension is a dual crown front fork with no adjustments, so basically you get suspension and only suspension. You don't get to lock it out, you don't get to adjust it at all, but it's pretty decent. It works pretty well. It does have a rear tail light, which also works as a brake light. So when you turn on the headlights, the tail light comes on, and then you also have a brake light here. So it has a top line of LEDs that get brighter. And that light is really bright, so everybody's going to see that when you're on the road. Now you can see here the seat is not super comfortable. It's pretty small, not a whole lot of padding. But with the full suspension, that really does help with absorbing the bumps. So your butt doesn't hurt too bad after a long ride. I do really like the handlebars on this bike. Now they are pretty small, so there's not a whole lot of room for accessories, but because the screen's so small, it does give you a little bit of extra room, which is nice. Very nice looking display. It does have a couple different options here. So you have your odometer, your max speed, your average speed, and your trip. No voltage gauge, but it does have a battery indicator. And then over here is your SIS index with your quarter twist throttle right here. Now your throttle does not work when your bike is on PAS 0, so as long as you're in 0, you're pretty safe about whiskey throttling it. It does have a headlight and a horn, so the headlight button is here, and then the horn is here. But overall, I really enjoyed riding this bike. Super fun, very good looking. Turns a lot of heads when you pass people. They want to know what kind of bike this is, and that's really nice. Assembly is easy. Overall, you're going to get a really good buy here, especially with the holiday sale. So I'll leave a link down in the description if you guys are interested in picking one of these up, and I'll leave a coupon code if I have one. And I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell while you're at it so you can be notified when I upload, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.